I don't really have an intro to these videos. I'm not even going to lie to you. I just start talking randomly. Pete knows we've done these quite often. But yeah, how are you?
Good, thanks. And yeah, thanks for having me on the channel.
Cool. I'm actually so excited about this. I've been thinking about this for a while and just trying to kind of create content around, trying to see what can we do at Puma and what can we chat about. And I know there's quite a few exciting things happening, but also just to chat about you as well, also to kind of find out more about you, your running journey and how's that going? Because I know you're also a runner, obviously.
So my name's Rae. I'm sure some people know me. But for those that don't, I'm the marketing manager at Puma South Africa, and kind of always been a runner, I would say. I mean, I ran sort of, cross country and track at school. And then, we had to, play rugby and all that, and you got to run for the different sports. And then I only really, I enjoyed cross country when I was like sort of primary school, and I was at boarding school in Natal. So I ran like KZN when I was like very young and stuff. So that was quite fun. But then sort of high school, I sort of lost interest. It just became more fun to smoke and drink and
classic. We just leave everything behind and let's take up what the cool kids are doing.
You just try to fit in with the culture or whatever, and peer pressure and all that. And it was only really sort of the year out of matric, I actually wanted to go overseas. I wanted to join the army. I was like obsessed with army. So I wanted to. At the time, you could either join like the Swiss Foreign Legion or the British Army. There, where they had like a foreign sort of thing that you could join. But my kind of parents freaked out, and they were like, no, they were going to disown me if I did it. So I found the next best thing. It was
but usually parents encourage that.
To
go into the army. So it's quite a different one to have it the other way around.
So I was pretty bleak, but then I did a bit of research, and I found this like sort of gap year after school, because I didn't really know what I wanted to study and didn't know what I wanted to do, but so I found this gap year that was run by like 2 ex-sergeant majors or something from the army, and it was basically like the army but without the guns, which was unfortunate. But
unfortunate.
Because I just wanted to shoot guns. Anyway. Not necessarily people. That sounds quite dodgy.
Are you going to talk your way out of this one?
I realize what I'm saying now. Don't worry, I'm not going to like walk into work one day with a...
We hope not.
But like mostly it was just the like what I enjoyed about it was the challenge and like the PT and the really like pushing yourself to the max, and how hard the training was. I suppose you watch movies as a kid and you see how hard the training was, and it always kind of spoke to me on some sort of level. So I was like, I want to know how I would respond in that situation. So I found this gap year, and it was rad. It was like every morning was like 5:30 pull PT, like typical army stuff, and it was very, very hard. So it was full gas, and it was a lot of fun. And there I kind of found my love for running again. There started adventure racing. So I've always like ridden bicycles, run a bit over the years, and then.
So being active was something that you've always done, anyways. Sick.
Yeah, and then about 12 years ago, I moved to Cape Town and then discovered trail running, and just fell in love.
I think Cape Town does that to you. You discover so much more.
So I was actually doing competitive triathlon at the time, and I moved to Cape Town to focus on my triathlon and like to get because there was a bit more like better like facilities here. I was in Port Elizabeth at the time, and there was like the Sports Science Institute here was really good, and coaches and the Western Province triathlon team was really strong. So I came here to like kind of really hone in on that skill, and then I was literally in Cape Town for 2 weeks, and I ended up on Lion's Head just doing a run there, and I think the next week I sold my triathlon bike, and I was like, now I'm a trail runner.
Wow.
So it was radical. It was just like, I'm like over this triathlon thing. I'm just gonna now. So then
start running loops on the line.
So then I got really stuck into trail running, and like did some ultras, like 100 milers, and really like enjoyed the long distance stuff.
The way you casually dropped in 100 mile and just moved on. I'm not over that. We might go back into that.
I mean, I only started joke with my friends. I only start having fun when I'm running into the second sunset. Like it's like that's when was Muhammad Ali also says he only starts counting when it starts hurting. You know, so I'm like I like to get to that point where you're hurting.
Strong threshold there.
And then so the ultras like really spoke to me, just that running through the night, and I just I think also at the time I had a lot of like emotional issues and a lot of like baggage from like childhood. So I think a lot of it was like almost like an acceptable form of self-harm at the end of it, you know, like you just like you're kind of escaping your, not to take it so deep all of a sudden.
No, but I think that's exactly what running does. It allows for that escape.
Yeah.
To kind of, and when people ask, what are you running from? And I always joke, say, my problems.
Yeah.
It's literally that. It's literally just kind of helps you clear your mind.
Yeah, it helps
and
you process.
And to unpack and like exactly process a lot of things. So I think running does exactly that. And also like, we do run away from our problems, but we also work through our problems while running.
While you're doing it,
Exactly.
Yeah, and then, so kind of enjoyed the ultra stuff, also did a bit of ultra on the road, like ran Comrades 2 years ago. That was amazing.
Oh, wow.
It was such an incredible day. Just did the down run, so 2 years ago, it was absolutely incredible.
I've actually been interested to find out, since you ran the Comrades, so I'm assuming you have knowledge around this race.
Yeah.
I never understood the up run and the down run.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
So the OG Comrades is a down run where you start in Pietermaritzburg and you run to Durban.
Okay.
And then I can't remember when they did it, but eventually, at some point, they started rotating it each year. So 1 year you run from Maritzburg to Durban, and then from the next year you run Durban to Maritzburg. So
but then the distance changes as well, though.
Yeah, sometimes depending on the road, like roadworks, or if there's like different. So at the moment, there's quite a lot of roadworks coming into Pietermaritzburg.
Okay.
So the route isn't sort of the original route that it's always been over the years.
Okay.
And I think it's this year now I think will actually be the longest Comrades ever. So just because of roadworks and how they've had to shift some of the routes. I could be wrong, but I think I remember someone telling me.
I don't have the urge or the what do you call it, the
motivation
exactly
or,
none whatsoever. 0% in me. Do I want to run the Comrades? No.
Well, if then I would say whatever you do, don't go and support on the day. Like, don't go and stand in Hillcrest with the crowds.
Will that get you?
It hooks you, like hook, line, and sinker you in.
I don't know about that.
It's emotional. It is such an emotional day.
Someone asked me yesterday, what's like the longest distance I'll ever run? And I always said 42 is where I cut the cameras. That's it. End of story, nothing more. And someone said to me, I bet you I'm willing to put money on it that you'll do a 56. And I was just like, I'll never do that. Like, why would I run anything more than a 42?
Yeah.
And they were like, just watch. And now you saying just standing on the side and cheering them on.
It's insane.
I watched the Ultra last year.
Yeah,
it hasn't bitten me whatsoever. I think I'm still fine. I think 42 is just where...
Times. Yeah, I mean, it's like every runner has their sort of thing that's they're content with that.
But also never say never, I guess.
Yeah. But it is a very special day. I mean, running... So that's why I just did the down run. I didn't bother to go for the back-to-back, because if you do your first Comrades and then you run again the next year, then you get a third medal, which they call a back-to-back medal, because you ran it back-to-back. And you can only do that once. So if you run... So now I ran, if I wait 5 years and then go do an up run, I don't get that back-to-back medal. But I had absolutely no desire to do the up run. It's just, I can't imagine anything worse than finishing in Pietermaritzburg. It's like the most horrible little town ever. I mean, I was like, I went to school very close there for most of my high school. So I'm like, I've still got PTSD from those days. I'm like,
don't go anywhere near.
Spend as little time there as possible. And it's,
so you prefer to start there to run away
start
from
there
it.
and run away and finish in Durban. Then you got the sea, you got the different vibes there.
It's not Cape Town Ocean at all.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people will finish in Maritzburg and then climb in a car and sit in traffic for 3 hours to get back to Durban. I mean, I can't imagine anything worse. It's like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, at least go into the Midlands for a night, or do something to just chill.
True.
But no, I just wanted to do one Comrades just to tick the box, and because it's so iconic. And like I said, I went to school in Natal, so every Comrades we would man like a aid station, like growing up and whatever. So I kind of grew up watching Comrades, and always had this like kind of pull. But I was always terrified of running. I mean, I was fine doing 100 miles on the trail, but the thought of doing 90 or 85 Ks on the road, it just absolutely terrified me.
I just want to know, how did you get into, I've always actually wanted to just pick someone's brain when it comes to 100 miler. What in your head decides, oh my gosh, you know what, I think this would be a good idea to run, 160 kilometers?
Yeah. I don't know, it's, I got a bit obsessed with this guy called Anton Krupicka at one point. He was like this legend of an ultra runner, and he was one of the original guys that, with him and Scott Jurek and a couple of other guys, that really put it on the map globally, because it was so. I stand to be corrected, but I think the running sport of it started when Western States in America is this 100 mile. It's like probably the most famous in the world, but it used to be a horse race, and the one year this guy's horse was sick or something, and he was like, I'm not going to miss this race. I want to do it. So he's like, he decided he ran it while all his mates were on his horse. Yeah, and I think he actually ended up beating some of the horses. And then the next year, there were 5 people there without horses, and the year after that, there were 10. So I think I remember something on that lines of how. So then eventually it just became a running race and not a horse race anymore. So it's so I think that's kind of the origins of that distance.
Well, we have the Durban July for the horses now, so I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, they don't feel left out. But
oh my gosh.
So I just through social media and YouTube and watching like all these short films that brands. So he used to run for another brand, and the brand would always put out these videos of him running through the mountain with like shirt off, long flowing hair flapping in the wind, and you're like, this is so primal. This is me. I want to be that guy. And he just became obsessed with it, and basically built my entire my identity around it, and eat, sleep, and like breathe it. So I had this goal of I've got to do it, but I didn't realize. So I didn't know when I would do it, because at the time there were no 100 milers in South Africa, or there was the Washi 100 miler, which is like a road run. Yeah. But there wasn't like it is now, where you've got like so many 100 milers to choose from.
UTCT as well.
Yeah. So one of the first ones that started in South Africa was the Karkloof 100 miler in KZN.
Okay.
I did that in 2017, and it was an absolute sufferfest. It was just insane.
I honestly, I know what 42 feels like.
Yeah.
I don't even think I can fathom what 160 Ks does.
No, I mean you walk a lot because of the sheer volume of the distance, but I didn't train very cleverly for it, because it's basically, it's not a lot of climbing. It's only like 2,000 meters over the 100 miles, which is nothing. Like there's really not a lot of climbing at all. So I think I would have been better prepared for the race if I had just trained like I was training for Comrades, like just lots of running.
Yeah.
Because I trained on Table Mountain and like vert and like in the soft sand in Kuberg, like really just building strength. But then like you're just ticking over like at 6.5 minutes a K, like non-stop, because it's like there's not much technical. You're running on cheap tracks and like single path, but it's not very technical. So I was very underprepared. So I basically walked like the last 60 Ks. It was insane.
Personally, I would have walked from the beginning all the way to the end, or actually not even entered at all, because I do not have it in me. Again, same with Comrades. Nothing in me says, hey, let's do for a 100 miler. I think a lot of runners are crazy, but I don't think I've reached that level of insanity yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to either, to be honest with you. Because that's just...
I think it comes eventually. I don't know. Everyone's different. For me, it's like...
Well, don't say that, because I don't want it to come eventually. I don't want to hit that level of craziness.
But it depends on the runner, I guess, because some runners they want to get as good as they can on a certain distance.
Yeah.
And then other runners want to see what's the limit, how far can they go, how long can they go. So maybe you're the type of runner that just likes that one distance, and you want to see how much you can perfect it and And
I'm just there to have a good time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just there to meet people.
Yeah, I see. You don't want to punish yourself into like oblivion.
I think 42 is the punishment enough.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
already,
I mean,
that's, especially because like I remember doing my first marathon and I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I was just like, please get me out of here. I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
And then a year later, found myself doing 2 back-to-back marathons.
Yeah.
And that's as much as pain as I would like to put myself through.
Yeah. It sounds crazy though, but for me, I think racing or running a marathon for me is harder than a 100-miler, like mentally, because you like with a marathon, it's long enough to really hurt, but it's short enough that you feel like you have to run the whole time, and you want to like go fast and like so you really like, you beat yourself, you're pushing. Whereas 100-miler, like you get a little bit tired, you stop, you walk, you take like 8-9 minutes for a K, like you sit at the aid station for 20 minutes, like.
But that's the nice thing about trail, it's so forgiving compared to road running.
Yeah, and there's no pressure on yourself to like hit those like kilometer splits.
And
like
no one
each
cares
time.
about the splits. When it comes to trail
They
running.
just look at the distance, they don't look at your pace.
And I'm like, I wish everyone could just see the same thing. We're just there to have a good time and also just like getting in the distance rather than focusing on like the splits and stuff.
Like who cares if you're running at 5 minutes a K or 8 minutes a K for a road marathon? Like
I'm here for 8 minutes a K. I'm here for 8 minutes. Was running in, I mean, I don't know, like in terms of gear, were you always running in Puma? Is that something, or was it different brands that you've been trying out over the years? Yeah,
so I mean, like I said, that I was obsessed with this guy Anton. So he was sponsored by New Balance back in the day. So like I think I started running with New Balance just because that's what he ran in. And then as time went by, I started like experimenting with other sort of brands and seeing what worked for me. And I think I started running in Puma in like 2015 or 2016. But I'll be the first person to say like the running product was trash in those days. Like it really was. It was so bad. And like Puma just kept changing their minds on what sort of technology to use. They'll have like a shoe called Fast, and the next season then it's Speed, and then it's Ignite, and then it's like keep trying to reinvent the wheel and just not doing really well. But we'll obviously get into shoes later. But that's when Nitro came along, it kind of changed everything for us. So now, I mean, to be like honestly, if I wasn't working for Puma, I would still be running in the Nitros just because it works so well for me. At least the road stuff. Our trail stuff we're still developing, and it's still catching up to the road. To be honest, there are some brands on the trail side that I would maybe prefer over a Puma right now, but the product is getting there slowly but surely. But the road range is just pretty exceptional.
I mean, it's quite cool to see Puma kind of take off in the last couple of years and really giving some of the other brands who've been on the top like a run for their money. And even watching some of these like big races with like some pro athletes and them running in Puma and finishing well in Puma as well, which is actually really sick to see. No, it's incredible. I mean, last year for us was an absolute breakout year. Just in terms of results and sell-through, and it just went, it was almost felt like there was a tipping point, and we hit that tipping point, and so I'm really excited for this year. I mean, obviously Glen Rose breaking the SA Marathon record, NRD Vet Elite she broke the 10K record, Precious Machete breaking the South African 10K record in the Fast Hour, and we're thinking, one of our guys might break the SA men's record again, 10K record this year, hopefully. With the Fast Hour 2. The PE for some reason always has fast times. Like if you want to run a PB, like go to Port Elizabeth or Quebec, like it's insane. That's where he's from.
It's I don't know what it is about that place, but it just seems like all the records seem to fall there.
It's giving you training grounds.
I don't know.
Out with Cape Town, in with GQ. Okay, that's what I'm hearing.
I don't know if it's like, because obviously it's sea level, but maybe the air pressure is different there than here, or it's like, because it's pretty flat there as well.
I would think Joe Burgers would do well here.
I mean, they mostly do, because obviously you're up at altitude in Joburg, and then you come down, and then you've got all the oxygen. Your body doesn't know what to do.
But interesting to hear that people from GQ.
So if you want to break a PB, it's a side tidbit there for the runners.
Come over here.
Train in Potch and race in PE, and you'll get your 3-hour marathon.
Oh my gosh. No, that's sick. It's also sick to see like Puma kind of breaking those barriers and like really doing well in like the running sphere.
Yeah. So like I say, Nitro came along in 2018.
Yeah.
And since then, like each time the R&D guys are bringing in a new version, it just insane like how far in leaps and bounds the shoes are making. Like the difference between like the Deviate Elite 2 versus 3 was monumental. And yeah, so it's awesome to see every time we bring out a shoe.
Yeah.
And then later this year we've got the Fast R3 coming, and which is just another massive step over and above what we've got at the moment. So
wowzers.
It's really, it's very exciting.
You guys are really giving the other brands a run for their money. It's like we are, we're showing up with all these new shoes.
Yeah.
That's so sick. What are you currently running in?
Mostly Deviate Elite 3. Actually run too much in the carbon shoe. Like it's like it is, people say you should probably do most of your training in a non-plated shoe, just to keep your biomechanics and your body strong and whatever. But I don't know.
That's literally what we spoke about earlier. We were saying we see too many people on the prom running in like these carbon-plated shoes, but they're like running 8Ks per
8
K.
minutes a K.
And I'm just like, what are you doing running 8 minutes
you.
per K in carbon-plated shoes?
Yeah, so Deviate 3, the normal Deviate 3, which is, it's plated, but it's not as aggressive as our Elite. So it's got like a sort of carbon-infused plate. So it's a very nice entry point shoe to trying out carbon plates if you haven't been running in them before. Because it's not aggressive. It doesn't change your stride length too much. It doesn't because the normal plates, obviously they lengthen your stride. You activate your glutes and your hamstrings a lot more because you're having to really flex this plate. So it's probably Deviate 3 would be the main one that I'm running in, and then Elite for like faster sessions and races and stuff. The Deviate Elite, it's great. It's a great shoe.
Sick.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So many shoe talks. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm still learning about shoes. I'm just a normal everyday runner. I know nothing about anything. I just put on shoes and I go for a run. But it's also so cool to kind of speak to people who understand the engineering behind certain shoes and what works for you and what doesn't. But also helps me get like that understanding. It also helps people get that understanding of like what to go for, what not to go for. Especially for race day, it's important for race day to have like a good shoe if you're trying to chase that PB or you're trying to have a comfortable run.
100%.
Especially for first timers. I think for me, as a first timer, I wish I knew more about that.
And it's also good to know that when to use the right shoe for whatever. So like I was saying earlier, like running too much in the plated shoe, you run in a non-plated shoe for maybe the majority of the time because it's less taxing on your body. So budget-wise, it doesn't always work out so, but like if you have like 2 or 3 shoes in your rotation that you're using in a week based on the type of run you're doing, like it really helps your running quite a lot. Because
I wish you could see my running shoes. I should have brought them. They're literally smooth. And I was like, I think these are still brand new to use. I think I can still run in these.
And that's also unfortunately when you start picking up injuries when shoes get tired and because it's like the foam isn't endless. It's we would love to have like an endless return on the foam, but it does.
That's true.
It does lose its memory after a while. And I was saying to a friend the other day, like our bodies are actually also like computers. So if you're programming your body in one way, every way, like say for example you run in the same shoe and you run the exact same route every single day, meter for meter you run the same route. Your body works out every subtle shift in the road, every camber, every step, everything, and you become programmed in that sort of route, and then you go run a race that's on a different road with some different hills, and then you wonder why you maybe don't have a good run. But so I often tell friends always mix it up as much as possible. So change your shoes, change your route, keep your body guessing. You don't want your body to get too lazy and on the same same sort of plane or route or whatever.
That's actually quite sick. I never knew that. It's also not something I ever thought about. Because I have like a variety of running shoes, and then once I get sick of them, I just move on to the next, and then on to the next. But I never thought of like mixing it up when it comes to training and like trying different routes with the different shoes. It was just like whatever's comfortable, that's what I'm wearing all the time. Maybe I'll change it up in terms of like distance. I have like a long distance shoe, and then I have like a shoe for like a shorter distance. But I've never really chopped and changed all the time for.
I mean, I don't have the science to back it up, but it makes sense to me at least.
I think it makes sense in the sense where it makes my shoes last longer. Instead of just running them flats and having them like as smooth as I can work like a tire basically.
And I mean, shoe prices don't help at the moment because it's just getting more and more expensive as raw materials and all the stuff increases and shipping costs increase. Like brands are like, trying so hard to keep the price as low as possible, but obviously as a runner, you know how expensive it is to be a runner. It's
100%. And I also understand, like in a sense where not everyone might have like a different range to wear different shoes. But like, what would you say is like, or some advice in terms of like, if you had to buy a shoe and that's the only shoe that you can afford at that time, and you want to do short runs, long runs, races in them, like what's like the go-to like Puma shoe that you would go for?
For me, it would be the normal Deviate 3, so not the Elite, just the normal 3, because for me that's like it's the best jack of all trades that we've got, because it's plated but it's not aggressive, so you can run big miles in it and it's not gonna like wreck your body, but it's snappy and fast if you want to up the tempo or to use it for a race day. Sorry, I even actually use mine as a trail shoe just because the grip is pretty insane. So I end up running on the trail quite a lot with it. So I really kind of use that shoe for pretty much everything.
Is it one of this one?
This one, So this is the new color that's launching now on the 6th of Feb. So obviously the orange was last season, and I'm so sick of orange. You just like saw orange everywhere, and I think because like every single one of our shoes last season was orange, and it was mostly just because of Olympics. So we wanted that. So like the football boots are orange, the spikes are orange, all of like the magnifier, all the different types of our shoes were orange.
Are you guys trying to hit like all the highlighter colors with all the different shoes every year? The new highlighter color? I'm probably green, or I suppose we did green with the Deviate, Hyrox Deviate now. So I'm sure, I don't know what, they'll have to cook up some pink at some point, or just saying, there's more colors in the highlight pack. Just saying, if you hit all of them, I think
definitely not going to miss guys running down the prom on with this shoe.
These are actually quite nice.
Yeah, I mean it's a really, really comfortable. It's insane. It's done extremely well for us. And I mean, I know this is a running podcast. We don't have to talk too much about Hyrox, but it's a very, very popular shoe for Hyrox as well because of the running benefits that you get. But then it's also stable for the exercises and all that stuff.
Sick. I saw a very interesting shoe which is behind us, and I'm very interested to know more about it.
The Rule Breaker. Yes, it's been. I'm sure people.
This is not legal whatsoever.
And I see the number one comment on social media on this shoe is like, if I wanted to break my ankle, I would play soccer or something like it. So people, something like that, where people are like, this thing looks like it's going to break my ankle. So it does look pretty wild.
Enough.
It is insane. But it's the crazy. The more crazy than how it looks is the fact that it actually works. It's a shoe that was developed. So basically the R&D team in Boston and like the innovation guys in Hertz, they said, what if we chuck the rule book out of the window, what is the fastest shoe we can make? Because IAAF's got those rules about a shoe can only be 40 mil stack with one plate and all that. So they're like, cool, let's chuck that out the window. What is the craziest shoe we can make that's gonna be fast? And I mean it's not light, it's quite heavy because of all the plates and how much cushioning is in it. But basically they found in the lab with the like running economy and efficiencies like that the shoe actually works. It's not just something that they slap together to look wild, but it actually runs pretty well. So
what's the distance that they've tracked it on?
I don't actually know. I mean I'm pretty sure you could go a marathon in these. I mean, you've got like almost 60 mils of cushioning in there, so it's.
Do you think this could break Kipchoge's record of going under 2 hours?
If Kipchoge was running in them, yeah, I think so.
Spicy! I like it. I think he would be disqualified. Though, to be fair.
Depends on the runner, obviously, but yeah. So I mean, so we'll have a few pairs going out to some athletes in the next couple of weeks, so we'll get more feedback. But yeah, there has been some influencers using them. So they've been on social media quite extensively. But we'll get the shoes to some proper runners and
some interesting shoes.
I won't be able to do it, but my kind of dream for this shoe was to give it to like Givemore, for example, when he runs 2 oceans. And be like, go and win 2 oceans in this shoe, like get disqualified, and we'll pay the prize money, because that'd be pretty rad statement.
Why don't you?
Yeah. It'll be a bit awkward if he doesn't win, though. But So
I mean, how can you not win? It's literally everything's just carbon plated. It's an entire shoe.
Yeah. So we'll think of something fun to do with the shoe, just to disrupt a little bit. But yeah, it's a wild shoe, and I want to try and do something fast with it, and
it's a very interesting looking shoe as well. I mean, you could even like a little seesaw happening over there.
There's also, there's that speed project concept in America that's just so popular. I don't know if you've seen that, where you race from like California to Vegas, but it's like a relay thing, and everyone runs, I think like a half marathon, or I think you can split it up. But a friend of mine, Alex Ono, and I, we're trying to figure out how we can get like a bit of a speed project going in South Africa, like a really high performance relay race.
Just chuck the shoe in.
Maybe that's the platform we can
give them a real go.
Yeah. We'll see.
No, I like it. I'm all for breaking rules and trying new things.
Yeah, and shoes fast when it doesn't sit properly on the table. It's just like it's like it looks like it's moving, just standing still.
I mean, they're quite cool. I mean, even those ones are quite cool as well.
Yes, I mean the Fast R2 is sort of the legal version of that, and it's also ridiculously fast.
The legal version.
Yeah, he prefers the Deviate Elite. So they very similar shoes in terms of economy and all the rest, but the Deviate Elite is more for a runner that prefers like a higher cadence.
Okay.
So faster turnover rate, where the Fast R2 is more for a powerful runner, someone with a longer stride, and really like to sort of move the earth when they're running. So that's different runner prefer a different shoe.
Yo, that's so sick. Oh my gosh, I could literally sit here and talk about these things all day and just keep learning more about them. I wanted to know also, like, in terms of like the athletes that you guys have, like I'm assuming you obviously have good relationships with them. Like, are there any like cool stories that you could share that you've had with some of the athletes?
Cool stories. Well, I mean, so I took over this role 2 years ago, and the kind of the focus straight away was to just get the elite team strong, get our ambassadors, our influencers, really, really strong. So it kind of basically hit the ground running, and excuse the pun, and just really try to find. So how do I put it? So for me, like, results isn't always the focus for me. It's, the type of person is also very, very important. Because at the end of the day, we could throw out some marketing PR, press releases, and you can regurgitate all the marketing stuff, but consumers will only engage with that to a point. They want someone that's relatable. They want someone that's just relatable. So when we look for ambassadors, it's who can we sort of, what's the personality that we feel like really identifies with Puma. And Puma's always been an underdog. It's not afraid of a fight. It's not afraid to take it to the big dogs, and so we'll look for an athlete that's really maybe not the household name, but they've got a lot of fight in them, and we can work with that potential. And so, I mean, interesting stories. It's I mean, Glenrose is just for me. She's if any athlete wants to, young athlete wants to learn how to kind of build themselves in this industry, they just need to look at Glenrose. She's just the epitome of a professional. Just works so incredibly hard, trains so hard, so humble, doesn't demand anything. Like, she's just really like just the most beautiful person.
Yeah.
Does
she train here?
She lives in Pretoria. Yeah.
Okay.
So she trains with Violet and Caster's wife. So Caster's wife. So Coach Violet. She's also an incredible coach. So they train up at Tix, and they've got their Cobra Nation crew that they're really like a tight little family. They're amazing, and then they were so supportive of Glenrose, obviously, at that marathon record, because her Cobra Nation crew paced her throughout the marathon.
That's epic.
So it was I'm really trying to think of some interesting stories off the top of my head, but it's I mean, I suppose.
But even that, like Glenrose breaking the record, like, that's epic in itself.
Yeah,
even though I was still running the marathon, but I knew about it when she broke it, obviously, and also meeting her the day before at the press conference. Epic person. Yeah, super nice to talk to. And
incredible. And I mean, I'm happy to admit this on air, but like she was telling me before the times, like, I'm going for the record, and like in my mind, it's like, cool, like. I know you're going to be an amazing marathon runner, but it's your first marathon. Like, I'm thinking,
smashed it.
I'm thinking top 5 maybe, because there were like some strong East Africans here, and I was like, it's going to be windy, it's going to be hot. Like, so like, to be honest, I was a bit doubtful that she was going to take the record. And then just watching the race unfold, and when she kicked like that at the end,
it's amazing what the mind can do.
I was like,
because she was focused. She knew she was gunning for that, and that's what she was gonna get.
And it's incredible. Like, she just and to take the record on home soil, like on a course that isn't the fastest in the world, and in conditions that were quite tough, just shows like with some dedicated marathon experience and training blocks, like if she races in like Valencia or one of the fast marathons, like, who knows how fast she can go.
That's epic.
But it's so obviously so when I started, then I like kind of figured out who I wanted to approach, and you kind of, obviously a lot of them are with other brands.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do it respectfully, but you also, it's it's dog eat dog.
Puma's a Puma. We're gonna pounce.
So a lot of the times, so reach out to, and like sometimes get ghosted, sometimes like rejected, but and then sometimes people are keen and open to work. But the biggest thing was just changing people's perspectives, because a lot of, like, most of the time when I'd reach out to these big name athletes, they'd be like Puma, I didn't even know Puma made running shoes. So it was like, so a lot of my job early on was like changing that perspective of, actually we do make running shoes, and we make really good ones. And like, and a lot of the times it was like, I mean, I won't mention names, but the one athlete I sent, so they were like, no, I'm not so keen, I don't think Puma's a good running shoe. And then I was like, okay, cool, just let me know your size, let me send you a DVD Elite, just take it for a run, and let me know what you think, and then in the future, like, if, we can talk. So I sent the shoe, she did one run in it, and the next day she's like, cool, what does the contract look like with Puma?
Brilliant.
So I was like, it was literally just like one run in the shoe, and she's like, okay, flip, this shoe is like decent. A business, So,
but that's exactly it. I think for me, my perception of Puma was like, to be honest with you, my very first branded sneaker ever. My mom bought me a pair of Pumas. It's one of those boxing, like the shoes that boxers wear with like the high top.
With the mid.
So I had those, but then I was just like, I don't know if Puma's like my brand. I don't know if I'm running these shoes. I don't know. And you hear so many conflicting things about, like, the running shoes. And I was just like, no, I'm good. And I remember running in a pair, actually. I think it was one of these.
The Elites,
and they were actually quite nice to run in. Quite comfortable.
I mean, because super shoes generally aren't comfortable. Like, they're made to be a very fast shoe, so they're not made for, like comfort is sort of like an afterthought. You want to be able to obviously finish a marathon in them. They can't be that uncomfortable. But I don't know. I feel like our guys started with comfort in mind first. Like, they wanted this shoe. I mean, like, another cool story is Cona, like Wana, I don't know if I got the pronunciation right, but he joined Puma like a week before Comrades. So he had been training in another brand his entire block, and I sent him a pair of the Deviate Elites. It was still the Deviate Elite 2s in those days, so it was a lower stack than the shoe that he had been running in. And he took the shoe out of the box, ran Comrades in it, and like got a PB in the shoe. So it was like
new shoe.
Yeah, and this is like and it's like a super shoe that's not really supposed to be that comfortable. But he was like, afterwards, he said it was just the most incredibly comfortable shoes ever run in over that distance. Literally out. I think he did like a shakeout run because I managed to get some unreleased prototypes. It was actually the Fast R2. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. So the Fast R2 wasn't launched yet, but I managed to get a pair for him from the R&D team to run in because he wanted a fast shoe, and it got stuck in customs. Eventually I got it to him on like the Monday, and Comrades is on that weekend. So I got it in Cape Town on the Monday, I sent it to Durban, he got it on the Wednesday, and then did I think 2 shakeout runs in it, and then raced Comrades in it, and did 7 hours and 10 minutes or something crazy. Just literally out the box. So that's one of the things that people always sort of say when they run in our super shoes is just how comfortable the shoes are. And which is amazing because you don't have to be uncomfortable to go fast. You can make a shoe comfortable and still be fast. That's I think that's one of the good things I think we have going for us with the Nitro is that it's you actually want to. Sometimes you see runners finishing Oceans, and the first thing they do is they take their shoes off, and it's sometimes they even take it off. I've seen a few runners running the last 2Ks with the shoes in their with the shoes in their hands. I'm like, shame, Bob, I'll send you some Pumas next year.
You can finish in confidence, stay in them after race. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So for you, are there any cool and exciting races that you are looking forward to in 2025? I know that you ended off with a bang. I know that you and Mikey went off to Egypt to go do a really cool race. Yeah,
that was insane. We went to Cairo, we did that, run the pyramids. It was amazing. And I wasn't super fit because I had a cycling accident a few months before that, broke my shoulder in 2 places and dislocated AC joint, and it was hectic. So I hadn't done much training, but still had such a good run. I was very surprised, and just to run in the pyramids or around the pyramids was pretty incredible. And Mike's a laugh, obviously. Traveling with them is good fun.
I was watching all his stories, and I was just I'm so entertained. Oh my gosh, it was so epic.
Yeah, he's walking around and okay, here we got some old cuck, and here's some more old cuck. Just
No, it was epic. I love it. If you guys have not seen it, go on Mikey's stories. I think it's still on saved.
On his highlights.
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's epic.
So classic. Yeah. So this year. I'm not running, but we'll go to Boston just to go support the Boston Marathon.
Sick.
We're going to do, we got some campaigns we're going to be launching around that, so that's going to be quite exciting.
Epic.
But personally, race-wise, I'm basically just focusing on High Rocks this year.
Okay.
High Rocks, and I want to so with all the ultra running, I never really focused a lot on running a fast half or a fast marathon, for example. So I think this year I had kind of set a goal for the half marathon. So I'm going to focus hard on that, and maybe
into Oceans?
No. So I'll probably try and get the PB at Gun Run. So because that's also quite a quick course. So fast half. So if that's going to be the goal for the year. Which
sick.
When I've done the big miles and stuff, when I tell myself I want to try and do a fast half, it doesn't feel like a very hard goal, but it's
100 miles a year.
No,
none of those.
Yeah. No, I think after Comrades, my wife, she was she's so how much longer are you going to be doing these long things? Because it's super intense. You're doing 6 to 8 hours on a Saturday. For another 4 to 6 on a Sunday, plus you're running twice a day in the week. So you're putting in 17, 20 hours a week of running. And it's very difficult to have a family life.
Not
I mean,
around.
it helps if your spouse is a runner, but my wife, she runs, but not as intense.
Not 100-miler kind of runs. Comrades kind of runs.
Yeah. So Hyrox came at the perfect time because it was like I can do, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours of training a week. I don't have to train on the weekends. Can really just get sort of focus on those priorities and so half fast half and Hyrox is the goal for this year.
Okay, your Hyrox is honestly just taken over.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
I'm just like, I don't know who and what Hyrox is, but okay.
It's crazy.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Especially like in the last year, I remember now we're going off topic, but like that's like the hardest thing at the moment.
Yeah.
After, if you're not part of a run club, you're doing Hyrox.
Yeah.
That's literally the two biggest
insane.
things in Cape Town at the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I know that Hyrox is happening in Joburg soon.
Yeah, 1st of March. So it's not a new sport, which is so funny for me because it started in Germany in 2017, and then I think last year it just all of a sudden it got mainstream, and now the one in London is one of the biggest ones on the calendar, and they're getting like 15,000-20,000 people. They have to do the race over 3 days because there's so many people. But I think it's speaking to so many people on a maybe different level. So where running you really got to love running to just be a runner, and you kind of work towards that. Whereas Hyrox has spoken to people that are maybe like sort of an average runner but still want to be competitive, or even pulling a lot of people from the CrossFit space that aren't super good at the technical, cleans and snatches and handstand walks and all that stuff, but they're super competitive athletes, but they just can't break into that 1% of either running or CrossFit. So it's a much more inclusive sport for me because you really push yourself, and it's very rewarding. You see the results quite quickly. And I promised myself I wouldn't talk about Hyrox on this podcast. I was like, don't talk about Hyrox, because if you know me, that's all I really talk about.
I've never tried Hyrox. I'm not even going to lie to you. I mean, I know the workouts. Some of them are very similar to because I'm more on the CrossFit end of things. That's what I've done for the last couple of years, and that's what I enjoy. And then Hyrox came in, and I was just like,
it's super
Hyrox?
fun, And I think also the fact that you can do a relay, so a team of 4 splits the event up into 4 things. So each person does 2 runs and two stations. So if you're kind of intimidated with doing all of the running or all of the stations, like a relay is really cool because you just have to do 2 of each. And then you share and you get to choose which person does which stations. And then doubles, you do all the running, so you do 8Ks of running, but then you share the stations.
Okay.
So they've got, and then obviously the singles is if you really want to punish yourself. But they've got the fact that I think it was London, the oldest person in London to do it. I think she was 74. She was like a 74-year-old grand, and she did a solo, and she finished. So it just shows you and they've got young, teenagers up to that age. They're just
insane. I told myself I'll never try it. I'm good. I'm happy. Now I'm like,
Yeah. It's giving a lot of ex-professional athletes a second lease at a sporting career, because maybe someone was a professional rugby player or a professional swimmer or someone that was really fit, and they're still really fit, but they haven't sort of had a platform to race or to compete. And this sport's come along, and now a lot of those kind of people that have retired but they're still in really good shape are now. But it definitely favors a runner. It is a running sport. There's no doubt about it. So for a long time you had a really strong person as the world champion, and then runners started coming in, and then the world record just plummeted because guys are coming and running 3 minute 15 Ks in between the exercises, and it's
disgusting.
Insane.
That's gross.
But let's get back to some running.
Last question. Well, I don't know if it's a question, but if people want to get involved with Puma, how can they get involved? Influencers, people looking for brand sponsorship. I know that we've briefly spoken about it before, outside of the podcast realm, but how could people get involved with Puma if they are interested in it?
It's a really it's a really important topic actually, because obviously runners like we said earlier, running shoes are expensive. You know,
Yeah.
running as a sport is expensive, and I am. I mean, on the daily, I get. I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate, but I get a ton of requests every single day. Like whether it's WhatsApp, I don't even know how people get my WhatsApp numbers, or it's like Instagram DMs, or you know, emails or whatever. Like it's intense.
That's
and
scary
so
also.
yeah, so the I mean, the biggest sort of tip I can give is just to try and stand out from the crowd in your request, because there's literally, I mean, I was trying to count before we had this, so I could give a realistic number, but I mean, in a week I probably get about 100 requests for like free shoes and stuff, like whether it's people like asking me at an actual race, or if it's on Instagram or whatever, so like around 100. So you're getting, and I'm sure it's the same for the other brands, you know, so I mean, my advice would be to just try and stand out from the crowd, and also, it's difficult because you don't want to, like, you always want to treat everyone fairly, but a lot of the times I can tell from the first sentence, like, okay, no, this is like, it becomes like, because
well, you're used to this by now because you've gone through hundreds of them before anyways.
It's some of this stuff is pretty insane, like the stuff people come up with, and like how, like, demanding, almost borderline, I want to say rude's maybe a strong word, but I'm like, bro, this is not how you ask for free stuff. So I would just say, I would say like so, and what I said earlier was we look for, we want people's personalities to shine through. We don't want to have 15 people running around in shoes and their Instagram looks exactly the same as Puma South Africa's Instagram. Like, it's got to be unique, and you know, we want people. So when we support people, we don't want them. It mustn't just be about the brand. It's their journey. It's them, and Puma just happens to be there on their feet or on the shirt or whatever. Like, we don't need people to be like, oh, Puma this, Puma that, Puma this all the time. Like, just live the brand, live who you are, and the, you know, the brand's just there. So I would say, like, try and stand out from the crowd in the way that you ask.
So no
and also,
ChatGPT stuff, copy paste into text.
And also don't try commercialize it. Like, just like be who you are, because the brand wants to, you know, will always gravitate to someone who's just themselves. And like, I mean, Mike Obery, for example, like, he doesn't have to now change himself, you know, to have brands wanting to support him. Like,
I don't think he's interested in changing himself.
No,
I don't think he's interested in that at all.
But I've noticed, like, people will change their, like, approach, or they'll, like, change their personality almost to try and get a brand to support them. And it's I would say, just be yourself, and results, like, honest, like, for me, results is the last thing I look at. Like, I obviously we need the credibility, we need athletes winning races, and we have that. Like, we have the credibility. So the sort of age groupers, if you can call them that, they are more like they grassroots influencers. They're the people in the run clubs. They're the people that are living their best life running, and it's we just want to be on their feet. We don't want to control their entire persona, because people pick up so quickly when, and I actually this year I've unfollowed a lot of people on Instagram because it's become so brand orientated. Like, the IG, every single post is just brand this, brand that, brand this,
That's
brand
true.
that. I'm like you get saturated with it, you know. Like, it's and
I mean, everyone's trying to be an influencer out there. Everyone's trying to work with some sort of brand. So it's more like, if I can wear this brand, maybe this brand will actually see me and give me something, some sort of sponsorship.
Which is cool. Like, pop that in there. I don't know, if you're doing 10 posts, maybe like 3 is like brandy.
I think,
and then the rest is
also the thing of, like, not knowing where to kind of stop, or how much of it to post, instead of just over consuming people with just branded content. Because people eventually get tired of it and just skip through it, and you just I'm not interested in this.
It's so hard. I mean, even for us trying to reach the consumer through our channels, like, people are already so saturated as it is. So you really have to find ways of being creative and cutting through that noise, so that you can sort of speak to someone on a personal level,
Yeah.
not just as a product or a brand. So yeah, I would say, if I can sum it up, what I've been saying, just just be you, and really try and stand out, and don't let the results sort of get you down if you're not like the fastest runner, because brands don't need the fastest runners. They need the runners that are sort of pioneers in their spheres of influences, and that's for me, that's the first thing I look for. I look for people that can move the needle, because at the end of the day, like, I think what a lot of people also don't understand when it comes to collabs and stuff is our goal as a brand is to sell more shoes.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good to get more shoes out there, but at the end of the day, I can't just give out 100 pairs of shoes and then sell one shoe, because that's just bad business. For us, the strategy is always to find the people that, not in an aggressive way, but just by sheer association, people are more interested in purchasing that product. So a lot of influencers miss that aspect, where they just think it's about them and their brand, and like their amount of followers, and they kind of posting, and whereas, like, if you're giving a brand a return on investment, they're going to support you more and more and more. So if you that's, I guess, if I sum it up, like, if you think how's this post going to benefit, or like, so for example, earlier I spoke about perceptions and how people didn't perceive Puma as a running brand.
Yeah.
So for me, early on, I was like, I need to find some people who can help me change that perception. And the posts were centered around changing that perception that Puma's not a running brand. When you, like, as an influencer, you would think to yourself, like, what is this brand trying to achieve in this campaign or whatever, and then you think of how can I use my personality and my influence to assist that sort of goal. So it's not super commercial, but it's got a commercial angle, but it's not like marketing shoved down people's throats. It's like, it's real life people doing real life things.
That's cool. I mean, that's good to know. I think a lot of people obviously have those questions. They want to know, I think just in general, just outside of just Puma itself, just in general, how to get involved with brands. But that's really good advice. Whichever influencers out there listening to this is for you.
I mean, it's a topic that I'm very passionate about, because I see so many really good runners that deserve support and deserve the stuff, but they just they don't shift into that next gear of realizing, because there's obviously two different sides of the coin. Like, there's the influencers that kind of know the marketing and influencing space, and then they get a lot of support, but then there's the lesser known athletes that are performing well, but they don't have that sort of platform or that audience. So it's I'd love to, I don't know, maybe one day when I have time, I'll try and put up some sort of a masterclass, if I can call it that, of how, as a sort of neo-pro athlete, how do you shift that? Because a lot of times runners are runners. They don't really understand social media and understand like the brand side of it. Because at the end of the day, you've got to build yourself into a brand that another brand wants to work with. It's not about the results. It's about you building yourself into a brand.
But I think a great group that is influencing the masses are the 9-4s, obviously sponsored by Puma. So I think they're doing a great job in definitely influencing the masses and just also doing their own thing and just being chill and being the great influencers, I guess, of the running crews in Cape Town.
It's cool. We've been with them since day one, pretty much, and they're just awesome bunch of people. And I mean, I've said this to Paul, like face to face, and I would mind saying it over the air. And one of the first things I said to him, like when I started, was like, you guys are cool, you do amazing stuff, but how can we include the running community more? And I must say, like, over the last couple of years, the thing that I've been most proud about with the 9-4 is how they've opened the doors, to the community. And because they used to be, a lot more sort of inclusive and which is fine. I mean, that was their ethos, and that was that. But the stuff, the community stuff that they're doing now, like with Ladies' Night, and
epic. I've been part of one of those.
Like gives you goosebumps. It's just incredible. Like, I mean, for me, that was one of the highlights. Actually, when I listened to that podcast that you did with the Ladies' Night thing, like that was the highlight of the year for me. When I can't remember her name, but the one lady was like, she just basically came from the couch, and I was like, I want to try this running thing out, and rocked up there and super intimidated because, like, oh my word, these are like runners. And then like 8 weeks later, she's running, her first 10K or whatever, and just feeling so pumped. And I was like, those are the stories I want to be a part of as a brand person. Yeah. Not the the records and that's fun, but
it's great, but it's also like the people being inspired to kind of come off the couch and straight to a race.
Getting someone out of like a really toxic environment or like a toxic way of living, and getting them into like this space of finding themselves again through running. It's just beautiful. Like that's where I'm at. And so I'm excited to see how that, like the 9-4 grow that, because it's really powerful.
It's epic. I'm loving what the 9-4 are doing. I'm loving what Puma's doing. I'm loving what just the running community in general is doing. Even High Rock's coming in. That's also a new sphere that a lot of people are like tapping into, which is epic to see. And everyone's just being more and more active post-COVID, which is so nice. And I love being a part of that, and I'm so grateful that I got to sit down with you and chat with you, and also find out about all these interesting looking shoes, and also just for me personally to learn more about it. And I think I've definitely gained more knowledge from this, chatting to you, and I hope that it definitely inspires the next person to start running or to pick up, a Puma pair of shoes and hit the road running, and maybe smash some PBs.
That'd be cool. We'll see you on the road. See you at a race.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's amazing.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Peace.